Hello, this is Jason Arnold. This is Health Informatics Course 655, and this is assignment number 6, going over vendor selection and the product risk assessment. And with this process, we kind of going over the safer guides. I thought it was a pretty cool process. It's really tedious, and I love having attention to detail. As far as the general kind of consensus on safer guides, it's going to be done by like the office manager or like the risk manager or an assigned group specifically designated for, like I said, understanding the risk and the assessment of that. And it's going to be in a collaborative approach from what the video told us, as well as going to help the EHR implementation. And it's going to, list a bunch of questions and give specific detail of what needs to be done. It's going to, again, give you like a self-assessment of, understanding like the safety and safe use of the EHRs. And it's going to be broke down into areas like, again, high priority, organizational responsibilities, planning, system configuration, interfaces, patient IDs, clinician communications, testing, reporting, and various other ones. First, it's going to start off with recommended practices, which we kind of go into, and then it kind of goes into a practice sheet of, first you're going to have a checklist of those recommended practices, and then you're going to have a practice worksheet that's going to tell you how to implement, each recommended practice. And the reason that's done because, again, those safer guides are going to be based on like the best evidence available, and it's going to be kind of based on things that are done through like literary reviews or expert opinions or even field testing. That's going to come from like a wide range of like healthcare organizations, and so it's going to be again intended for all EHR users, but every organization's practices are going to be a little unique. How they're going to implement these practices. So it's going to be up to them to understand those safety concerns and make sure that they, continuously change how they approach, these, changes in technologies and standards and, regulations and policies and things of that nature, especially when using the safer guides. So ultimately the goal is to improve the safety and overall care of our healthcare organization. And it's not used for legal purposes or anything helping with, Medicaid or HIPAA or anything like that. It's just for informational purposes. So I think that's pretty cool. Again, I like how it breaks down everything accordingly. And I like how it really, again, is a real world approach to how we do this. So it's pretty cool. Just being really quickly, our group, I like the way the approach was. We did we did two as well. It was patient identification. And the first one was patient identification. And that's going to be the recommended safety practices on how the identification of patients are done in the EHR. And you want to make sure that you have accurate patient identification, of course. And so you want to make sure that it's entered correctly into the EHR to make sure you have the correct person. So in that EHR-enabled environment, the providers are going to use that technology to support and manage like those identification processes. So like the recommended practices that they say in this area are going to deal with like patient matching and dealing with specific patient attributes. Specifically, again, they want to facilitate correct patient identification, and they kind of want to make sure the clinicians have the ability to have personalized electronic lists. For example, they can have them to a specific criteria that kind of utilizes maybe the user, the location, or the time of the service that they're having. The reason they want to do this, like the rationale, is so they can reduce the risk of selecting the wrong patient, which I kind of identify with, so it gives them a shorter list. And so like an example of that would be like a patient list can be generated from like different formats, or like clinicians can view or edit it or read it in different formats, or they can sort it how they like in relevant order or by default. So some follow-ups that our group kind of submitted or a practice would submit or somebody would submit would be, with IT, guide clinician editing, like will they support clinician editing, or will they do continuing training, or will they provide offline or like Google Drive or assistance linkability for these lists to be developed. And of course, the consultant aides or the sources of input would be the EHR developers and the health IT support staff. So that was with patient identification. I think that's pretty cool. And the other one was patient, it was clinician communication. And of course, that's going to be like the safety practices associated with communication between clinicians, of course. And it's going to be used to, like, again, optimize safety and safe use of EHRs. Because again, that's going to be process going to be kind of complex as well, and vulnerable breakdown will be crucial in any organization. So that in an EHR enabled environment, the provider is going to rely on this technology to kind of support and manage complexes within, like, the inter-clinician communication processes. So they want to make sure they improve this to improve the safety and, again, the use of communication. So some recommended practice would be to kind of give the electronic messaging systems to kind of work on the urgency of messaging. So that's kind of like alerts. And the rationale they want to have the urgency of this messaging is to, like, the urgency of the messaging is gonna help, like, facilitate triaging and ensure, like, timely follow-ups. But again, if you want to have some examples of that, maybe the EHRs are going to be allowed to, like, flag certain, consults or when they're needed, or they have high urgency messages here, or they could have a specialist for immediate access or some type of communication vehicle. But follow-ups that our group had, or somebody in the real world will have, would be like, how will the developers, help train the clinicians on, alert editing, methods, you know what I mean? Like, how will they differentiate between pages or cell phone texts, or, like, alerts on their phone or their pager, or any other, emails, how will they be alerted, or will they go through all alert systems or all messaging systems? How would that be done? And as well as what other methods can be used as far as having alert fatigue. If I get too many alerts, is it for the previous one? Is it one that's delayed? Does this one come 20 minutes late? So you want to prevent that alert fatigue. So that's kind of what our group came up with. I thought this was pretty cool. Again, the way we do this was pretty cool, and I could think in a real world example why this is so cool. Sorry to be so long winded. It was because it's a tedious process. We only did like two safer guys and one addendum in each part of safer guys. So imagine if you're doing all the safer guys and all the worksheets and all the addendums. It would be pretty crazy if you're doing that in a real world example. So that was Jason Arnold once again. Again, going over the process of video blog or vlog number 6. Thank you for your time, and yeah, hope to hear from everybody soon. Have a blessed day.